Here we go. CJ Arbius. Yeah, good rating, 1803. We're playing a Sicilian. And maybe I'll go for the Con Sicilian. I've done a lot of classicals lately. Ah, yeah, that's the move. So the knight's not under attack, so it doesn't matter if it's loose there. And the bishop is good on this diagonal. This pawn can come forward at some inopportune moment, but black's setup is okay too. The queen is guarding against the pawn coming forward for the moment. Yeah, sometimes you gain a tempo on the knight by playing the bishop here, but here he's already defended it. Let's just develop normally. The pawns here and here, controlling these squares, it's very handy, so he can't attack the queen. He can go for the Maroczy bind, that's true, but I'm set up to play d5 in a single move. But let's start by getting castled. So I play d5 now. He takes, I take. He takes, I take. I think it's all good. I play d5, he might push. And I'll drop the knight back. I don't quite like that. Here, let's pin this knight. Oh, it's not pinning. I'm threatening to take the knight, and I'm not threatening to take the pawn. He's got it defended. Okay, I'm going to set up kind of a hedgehog setup. Put my bishop here, this pawn here, and I'll take this knight here if I need to escape with that bishop. Let's see, moves. And maybe I should take the knight first and then play the pawn here, because otherwise, okay, he prompts me to take. There we go. Yep, white has a very solid center here, so hard to do much about it. And I could have played d5, but I didn't like the way it looked after he pushes the pawn, and my knight has to go find another home. So he pushes there anyway. Yeah, I thought he might. So if I take the knight first, then I could put my knight here. Trying to avoid my knight getting squashed. I could take my knight anyway, and I have to retreat, but well, we'll just see how it works out. Should be an interesting position. Oh, I just took. Okay, so now I have to retreat the knight. Oh, yeah, no, that was what I wanted. I wanted to be able to bring my knight to this square. had to rethink things for a minute. Yeah, so now let's the knight can always escape to this square. Let's undermine the center. So yeah, let's do this now. The bishop is trapped, so I will be able to exchange my knight for the bishop at least. Okay, now do I want to keep the center? I think I want to keep the tension in the center. He's got his rook and his queen lined up, so I can't easily threaten mate as much as I would like to. So he does bring his queen out. He was threatening mate. So we stop that. He went back. Yeah, there was a danger if the queen stayed there, the rook comes up and over and he mates me there. I was going to think about lifting this pawn up. I wonder if that's a good move anyway. Lift this pawn up. He takes, I take with the rook. And the queen can come over here to defend if needed. And if he does nothing, I guess I'll just take this pawn and exchange off that rook. So he takes that way, yeah. So I have two ways to pile up on him. He could pile up with the queen and the rook on the bishop, or I could pile up with the queen and the bishop on this diagonal. Yeah, so he defends in advance. Now let's bring my rook over here anyway, so that if the bishop moves, I can take the rook. That seems like a big mistake, doesn't it? I mean, I have the check here and my bishop is guarding all of the escape squares. So where is he going after that? He has to block with the queen or the rook. But what do I do after that? Can I break through after that? Well, this king can't move, so the threat's not going away. If I double here, then I can play the check, and then if he blocks with the queen, I can trade queens and then take the bishop. If I've already got my rooks doubled, that's the plan. And another idea is put the rook here, put the queen here. Yeah, let's go ahead and get lined up. Before he added an extra defender, I could have threatened to just take there and take twice, pull the queen away, and then mate here. But now he can keep taking with rooks, and the queen will still defend. Although the queen is not defending this square here. So I can take the rook, but I can threaten here too. So it's check, check, take the queen, and then take the rook, right? Or maybe I take the queen and then take the bishop. I actually have to keep taking, don't I? Because if I don't keep taking, if I don't keep taking, then he had the ability to take my rook here. So I have to keep taking, but then at the end I get to take his bishop. So we got one pawn for the bishop, basically. That should be good enough for me. He was getting low on time there, so he might not have calculated that all out, or maybe this is something he's okay with. Yeah, maybe this is good enough. Actually, it's a little tricky here. That's what I wanted to see. So now I can blockade these pawns and attack them. And okay, so check here, the king comes here, I take. I can get 2 pawns for 1 over here. It's not a stalemate, yeah, because he has a bishop move. Let's see, how about if I do something like this, though? The power of Zugzwang. He resigned. Yeah, this is kind of cute. I mean, he can keep pushing. So he just takes. Eventually, unless he wants to give this pawn away, eventually he has to move his king. And I can take here. The king can run, but, well, I can defend this pawn, gobble up the others, so that'll be a win. And this is the right corner, the right rook pawn, the correct rook pawn. Oh, it looks like someone started a, yeah, I was winning. Okay, good game. Let's go back. Let's get another game. Let's play a rapid game this time. There's a lot of games on play. 22,000. That's pretty big. Try e4 here. Mad Mo. Mad Mo. 1915. I'm almost 2,000 here. Probably means I'm going to lose. He chooses the Sicilian. He plays the... that's not a classical yet, but he's playing the most traditional line in the Sicilian so far. And now he could play a Najdorf. Yeah, he plays the Najdorf. Very popular these days. I'm going to go for the English attack. I haven't played that in a bit. I like to play this move first instead of this move first, just because I don't have to worry about the knight coming here. There are some tricky lines, however, with the queen coming out here, attacking the loose knight, that kind of stuff. So he's gone full-on dragon variation here. Cool. Okay, I'm going to take one move to get my king back. He's not yet putting pressure on my king side, so I have time for that, I think. Then I'll start doing the usual pawn storm. And I should slow down. He's slowing down. That's good. It reminded me, this is a rapid game, not a blitz game. I should slow down. Anyway, yeah, there's this nice trick in a lot of these positions where you put the bishop here. You have to push these pawns forward first. And then when he takes, he brings the queen in, and you have the queen and the rook lined up, and you trade off the rook pawn to open up that file. Need to also chase this knight away. Oh, the knight leaves voluntarily. Where's the knight going? It can come around this way. Or maybe it's coming to this good-looking square here, hitting this pawn. It's still defended. The knight defends that pawn. So it's all okay. So if I go g4, g5, I mean g4, h4, then h5 to open up this file, I think that's good in this situation. Just do that plan I was talking about. If I can get a pawn here, bishop here, and then I'm threatening to take here and open up this file. So if he takes, it brings a queen in. If he doesn't take, I take his bishop, I take the pawn, and then my queen comes in here anyway with check because his king will be there. And this knight has conveniently left off the defense of the king side. If the knight were here, it would still be defending h7. You know what they do sometimes? Go super defensive, move the rook out of the way, and bring the knight here. But that's not his idea. Clearly not his idea. So he wants to put the knight here, 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 here. Well, this is still defended, as I said. He wants to take here and then take the pawn. Okay, so we will defend the pawn. So rook over here, pawn up here, in some order. This is one of those attacks that almost plays itself. So what you really have to worry about is the counterplay from your opponent, which he's starting to get going here. But, well, when he's put his knights like this knight has this square to go to when he pushes. So I still think I've got time for this stuff. Knight here, if he kicks it, the knight can drop back to here, I think. Yeah, it's a little bit of a problem here. A little bit in the way there. Okay, but that's not his idea. If he kicks and kicks, maybe he's waiting until he has this lined up. Okay, so I'm going to go here immediately, h5. He does something, and then I put my bishop here. He can't push the pawn. If he takes the bishop, I'll take back with the queen and then take here. When I take here, he can take back here with the pawn. Pushing the pawn, I'll just take it. If he takes the pawn, that also opens up it also opens this up. So we'll see what he does at this point. But I didn't see anything. I mean, he can take this knight to disrupt me. But then I can put my bishop right back. That's his idea. But this is a typical kind of thing. Yeah. I mean, that is the instant response. You just snap that knight off because it's too good. Take here. And the question is, should I leave this here or should I take here now? Take here, bishop takes, then bishop here. He could do something like bishop takes knight, pawn takes, and then put a rook opposite my king. I have time to scoot over. I've gotten rid of the dangerous dark squared bishop. I can take his rook. I think it looks good. So yeah, I'm just going to take his bishop, king takes back, take the pawn, somebody takes, and then queen here, check, and mate. Of course, king could run the other way, I suppose. Let's see, if queen takes bishop now, then queen takes... If queen takes knight now, then queen takes... Here is a mate threat. You can move a pawn to block it, and then I take the rook, and I'm just up the exchange. So that's no good. Bishop takes bishop just invites my queen over here, and he has a couple pawns in the way before setting up a defense along the second rank. Maybe, does he have enough time maybe to lift this rook up? Say bishop takes, queen takes, pawn to f3. He's not doing that. He wants to just take. Well, he wants to mate me, it looks like. Maybe he's thinking this is a threat. It is a threat. But I can play b3 here, right? Yeah, I was going to play knight here, hitting, sorry, wrong button. I was going to play knight here, hitting the queen and defending the pawn, but his bishop can snap it off. So that would not be so good. But I think this still works. He did eventually get some counterplay there, so that's the Sicilian dragon for you. Now the knight maybe could run out there. It still can't go here because it looks like it's defended, but that pawn is pinned, so the bishop can still snap it off. But it can go here. Doesn't have to move at all. Yeah, so you take the pawn. And now magically the H file is open. And queen H6 is a threat. Yeah, we'll give him some time to think here. He could play something other than just taking the pawn back. Like bringing a rook over to the H file to try and stop stuff from happening there. But my queen would still come in with check, and then I'd at least win another pawn. So he does that. So his idea is to run out here, huh? Yeah, if it weren't for this bishop, this would be a nice tactic, right? Queen check here. If the king goes here, then it's mate, so it has to go here. And then this knight is a fork, but he can take it with the bishop. I think that's probably still good. I'll go ahead and play this one because we're going to play it anyway. So knight here check. He's got to take if he doesn't want to lose the queen. I'll take with the pawn. and it'll be his move. But the pawn here is doing something useful. It is stopping his king from running away, so then my queen can come back here with check. Is that the best way to do it? I could do the queen check first, but then his king would run here. So I think I want to do the knight move first. I want to try and prevent the king from taking this route to safety. And the queen is on a dark squared diagonal here, so it's not checking my king. Well, the material is all even so far. I don't know why he's thinking for so long. I mean, the choice is to take the knight or resign. There's no checks. There we go. And my choice here is take with the rook or the pawn. Like I said, I wanted the pawn there to stop his king from coming this way. King could still step up here. The other rook could come over and check. Rook here, king here. I don't have a good way of rounding up that king, so this is what we're doing. And now, pawn here check, or queen here. Okay, so queen here, the king will run to this square. Then this pawn is loose, so maybe rook here. There's also queen here. But his queen is guarding that. Pawn here check. Where does the king run? The king runs here. Maybe this is stronger. It's always dangerous to do that, but okay, after the pawn check, his king has two moves. Can come forward here. It looks better than this one. This one would just invite another check. So the king goes here. And I step back with my queen somewhere. Well, I can't. The pawn's in the way. I have to step forward with the king, queen. Well, I'm threatening this pawn. I kind of like this better. The classic king hunt. King goes here. I have a check with the rook. If the king goes here, I go here with the queen, threatening to take this pawn and check. If he defends it, I have rook takes rook. If he plays rook takes rook, I can take the pawn with check first. That's what I'm thinking. Queen here, rook takes rook, queen takes pawn, check. He can take here. I can take the rook back. And then I'm ready to start checking some more. And if he defends with this rook, I'll take this one. Defends with that rook. Okay, it's getting interesting. Well, my queen has an escape route now, so let's threaten this pawn over here. king can take the pawn. The rook can come over and defend the pawn. Ah, he goes on the attack. Yeah, this guy, I like him. If he doesn't see anything, he attacks. Well, he is Mad Mo, so he's just living up to his name, I guess. I would be thinking more defensively in this position. He resigned. Let's look at this on the analysis board. Yeah, I'm not sure what he does. So I suppose he continues the attack. Do I have a deadly threat here? Check. Check. He can move the king to either side. This check maybe is deadly. Yeah, now I'm threatening mate. Okay, so we can't totally ignore it. How about, is there a defensive idea here? No, that doesn't work. Right, if he brings the rook up here, I take this rook. Yeah, so he can't easily defend this pawn. And as we saw, yeah, after I take the pawn, well, let's see. Some other move. The queen here, here, here. Say queen here. The idea is put the queen on a light square, so maybe a check here will be useful. So the king, if he takes there, I still do this thing with the rook check, and that looks fatal. So, and when I take this pawn, it actually defends my king against the diagonal. So the king runs the other way, and I come here. Only one move. Yeah, that's close to a mating net. I don't quite see the mate, but once again, we'll get into this kind of situation. Looks pretty bad. Okay, so probably resigning was okay, although it would have been more fun if he'd let me play out the mate. Anyway, nice example of a English attack against the dragon. There you go. See you next time. Bye now.